Alright everyone, we gotta talk about Alec Baldwin. He's a long-term grumpy TDS sufferer, he's a big-time anti-gunner, and he accidentally, for legal purposes I'll say allegedly accidentally here, shot and killed his cinematographer on the Rust set, and I think he shot another person accidentally as well. Now, that's a little bit of an inconsistency. So he shoots two people during, I guess, a Trump rant, the tale is told. With a prop gun. Can I please ask why the prop gun had live ammo in it? I have to either believe that the armor, which would be on set that would prepare the prop gun, suddenly just didn't understand their job, and I bet we'll find that this person was on the job, has done this before, and presumably knew better. Why then were there live rounds in it? Are you going to find Baldwin's fingerprints, maybe, on one of those rounds? No, I bet he would have wiped them off if that had happened. Why do I get the feeling that there are shenanigans in this story? But I'll get past that. Alec Baldwin potentially being a cold-blooded murderer aside, let's get past that and look at what this really means. This is another example of an anti-gunner who clearly doesn't know anything about guns, doesn't understand gun safety, and should not be allowed around a gun, should probably be not on a film set, I guess, either, and should shut his fucking mouth when it comes to them. This is what we have to suffer with time and time again. People who are completely ignorant on subjects have a tendency to be the most vocal about them, and so you have this plurality of individuals that are deeply anti-gun who've never even fired one. Now, Alec Baldwin has. Apparently he's a pretty good shot. He killed one person and injured another one, and he thought that they weren't even real bullets, so what a magical man. The dude clearly doesn't understand guns. If you're going on a rant and firing off a gun randomly, don't you think that could cause a problem? And even if it's a cap gun, Ken, don't you think you should check the firearm first? Just because the armor is on set. If I were an actor and I were doing a scene with a gun, I'd check it myself. I wouldn't trust somebody else to load it and potentially fucking kill somebody. Now, I know what you may say, well, he couldn't have possibly known. What if there are shenanigans going on here? I suspect probably that that's the case. I suspect as well Alec Baldwin will face no repercussions for this, despite the fact that he's guilty of negligent homicide. Probably the armor will take the fall, get a fine or something. Well, you're negligent, criminal negligence, 2 months in prison, something like, well, not even prison at that point, 2 months in the county jail with a warden who dresses up like Santa Claus on Christmas and hands out toiletries from the dispensary for free to the convicts. You've got someone who has made enormous numbers of comments in favor of getting rid of guns, guns are evil, the AR-15 is a penis extension, and he's the one that actually kills somebody with a firearm in a negligent sense. How often does this happen among law-abiding gun owners that have, like, Gadsden flags and stuff? Very rarely. Those hunting families, they take care of their guns as well as they do their own fucking kids. They don't generally accidentally discharge them because they actually know their way around firearms. Like, for instance, I know not to point a weapon at a person unless I intend to shoot and kill them, by the way. I won't do that even if I know it's not loaded. And of course it wouldn't be. There'd be no reason for it to be under those circumstances. But I'm not going to start waving it around and yelling about politics and start firing off at people. It doesn't make any sense. The official story here is fishy. Just to be clear, I think that we'll find evidence that some shenanigans went on. And I don't think that it has to do with the armor just popped a molly and loaded the wrong bullets. Like, why would you even bring live bullets to the film set in that context? There's no reason for them to be there, right? What the fuck would you have them for? There's no reason. You're using a fake gun. Well, you don't need real bullets. What? You had the same exact gun at home, only the real one, and you grabbed the wrong box of bullets? How stupid can you get? And Baldwin's an ignorant moron for waving a gun around, ranting and firing it off. He's nuts. He shouldn't be allowed on the film set if it involves anything to do with guns. They'll have to CGI the gun into his hand the next time, I suppose. And he's one to talk. This happens all the time. It's like watching, what's his name there, David Hogg, ramble about guns. You don't even know anything about them. Oh, the AR-15 baby killer, 500 rounds a second. It's like, you don't know what you're talking about. And by the way, this is why gun control really is fading into non-existence. It's fading into irrelevance. We're probably going to get a SCOTUS decision giving nationwide shall issue or constitutional carry as of a few months from now. It's going the way of the dinosaur, not just because it was dreamed up by a bunch of segregationists, not because it was dreamed up by Jim Crow Democrats in the 1870s as a method of making sure the Klan could continue to abuse former slaves, which is literally the origin of gun control in the United States. That's not even why. It's because it doesn't work, and the people that support it make stupid comments and don't know what they're talking about. Even gun control advocates have pointed this out. I've read news stories from years ago, around the Sandy Hook period. There were news stories about why you constantly lost the argument if you're anti-gun, and it was pointed out by other people. They're like, you need to shore up, you need to actually know what you're discussing in order to make a coherent debate about it. But you don't. You've never fired a gun, but you want to lecture others on the function of firearms. You don't understand anything about 1700s parlance, and yet you think regulated means like in the sense of regulating your bowels or something like that. You're nuts. And Alec Baldwin's nuts. Interesting how many TDS sufferers have this sort of weird shit happening to them. Very, very mimetic in form. That's about all. Peace out.